Welcome. Today we're going to learn about the battery. The battery was invented in 1800 by Alessandro Volta. This battery was known as the voltaic pile battery. It had discs of copper and zinc in between pieces of water-soaked fiberboard or paper. I'll have an image of it here to better describe how that battery was built. Now, this battery was invented to make electrolysis work. Now, electrolysis is a separation of hydrogen and oxygen from water. This type of power is called DC power. DC power is a constant flow of electrons, unlike AC power, which is in waves. Why do we use batteries? We use batteries to power electronics, like cameras, laptops, cell phones. Every single thing today is almost powered by a battery. Now, we use batteries to store power for use later. For a very simple term, we charge up our phone and we use it throughout the day. That allows us to have more portable devices. How does a battery work? Now, in this portion, I'm going to talk about what batteries are made of and why they operate. So up here, I have a little drawing of a battery. Now, batteries usually have an anode and a cathode with some sort of electrolyte substance in between those anodes and cathodes. But anodes and cathodes can be a bit confusing of a term. So throughout this and the rest of this video, I'm going to use the terms negative electrode and positive electrode. Now, the negative electrode, obviously on our drawing, is here, and our positive electrode is here. As we know from chemistry, electrons are negatively charged. So electrons are going to flow out of the negative terminal and into the positive terminal. You can see, drawing the flow of negative electrons. And in between our negative and positive electrodes, we can have a device. So in this case, I'm going to draw in a light bulb. Now, the flow of these negative electrons are going to power this light bulb, and the reason these electrons flow is they're attracted to the positive side of the battery. Now, they can't just go from this side of the battery to this side of the battery because of this electrolyte substance. This electrolyte substance allows only positively charged ions to pass through it. So, these negatively charged electrons will not pass through this electrolyte substance. Now, as I explained above, this is called DC power. DC power, as we can see, is going to be constantly flowing electrons. You know, pretty simple. It makes everything a lot more simple. AC power is a rabbit hole that we're not even going to go down today. Now, there are several different types of batteries. Today, I'm just going to cover two of the more common types of batteries. Lithium-ion batteries. I have an example right here. Lithium-ion batteries have a positive electrode and a negative electrode made out of lithium substances. Now, these batteries are very popular due to their energy density. Energy density is a term for how much power you can get out of each square centimeter of surface area, or area it takes up. So these batteries are very energy dense because they store a lot of power in a very small area. Now, another very common type of battery is the lead-sulfur battery. Now, I'm going to draw an example of this lead-sulfur battery on the board as I explain it here. So our lead-sulfur battery has two different electrodes on it. Our negative electrode and our positive electrode. Now, both these electrodes are going to be made out of lead. Very basic lead. In this, in between our two electrodes, we are going to have a sulfuric acid solution. Now, this sulfuric acid will react with the lead, and when we discharge this battery, it's going to turn our sulfuric acid into water. And when we charge this battery, the opposite reaction will occur, and we'll turn our water back into sulfuric acid. Now, while we're also discharging the battery, these lead electrodes turn into lead sulfate because, as we learned from thermodynamics, we can neither create or destroy substances. So we are transferring the sulfate from part of the sulfuric acid into the lead to create lead sulfate, and vice versa, while we are charging and discharging the battery respectively. Thank you for this scripted portion of the video. Now we're going to move on to the unscripted portion, where we're going to play with lemon batteries. Alright, so now we're going to go into our unscripted portion of this video, where we're going to build a lemon battery. So, as you see, I've already put both my positive and negative electrodes in this lemon here. So I'm just going to take them out for a second to show you what they are. This is a copper nail. As you can see, there's a bit of discoloring on that copper nail. This is going to be our positive electrode of this battery. And on this side is our zinc washer. And then inside this battery, obviously we have the internals of a lemon. So the internals of this lemon is going to be acting as our electrolyte. And that's not going to allow, it's not going to allow positive or negative ions to travel through the inside of this battery and short circuit it. So to prove to you that this is really working, I have my electrical tester here. And we're just going to positive, positive, negative, negative, show you that we get about 0.8 volts, which isn't a lot in reality. It's about what I expect from this little battery, especially because these electrodes have been in here for a while and chemically reacting a little bit. Now, one thing that people like to do to show this battery is working is like power an LED. But we have a problem. This is the LED that I have, and it runs on 3.3 volts. Now 3.3 volts isn't a lot of power, but for this little lemon battery, it's a little too much. See, as I connect my electrodes, we are not getting any light through it. And, you know, just for posterity purposes, I have a lithium-ion battery here. I'm going to use this to power this little LED here, because this battery has about 3.4 volts or so. If I can connect the right terminals to the right side, because these are one directional. And as we can see, this lights up our little LED powered off this battery here. This lemon battery, you know, being cool and all, is really just an experiment. This battery will never change the world. We cannot power ourselves off of batteries. I was watching a video a while back where somebody tried to charge a car off of 1,000 lemons. And it didn't really work. They could barely power a motor to make lemonade in the end. You know, this is really just a cool experiment that we can do, show how batteries work. Now this here is an 18650 cell. This is a very common cell. This is used in Teslas, used in drills, all sorts of things all over the world. This is one of our most energy dense cells that we have. This battery, you know, ultimately changed the world. Lithium-ion batteries changed the way we think about batteries, but they're not all good. Lithium-ion batteries suffer from a condition where the positive ions inside the battery travel to the negative terminal and they build up on the negative terminal. Over time, they create structures called dendrites. These dendrites can eventually short circuit the battery, and while they're building up, they decrease the lifespan of the battery. This is why your battery in your phone doesn't last as long when it's new versus, you know, a couple years down the road. Now, there are some ways to prevent these dendrites. You know, with lithium-ion batteries, not using a charge cycle, which is from anything below 60% to 0, you know, charging a battery from 60 to 80% can really help extend the life of your phone if you really want to do something like that. Otherwise, new battery technology is being developed today. Now, one battery technology that I am really excited about is solid-state lithium-ion batteries. Now, unlike these batteries, which have a liquid electrolyte on the inside, solid-state lithium-ion batteries have a solid electrolyte, as the name would suggest, on the inside. Now, this prevents the building of dendrites, as we would get in a common lithium-ion battery, and it also allows us to push more energy into the cell without risking it exploding. Now, solid-state lithium-ion batteries, from some initial tests, have some very cool abilities. They have the ability to charge very quickly and last even longer than these batteries because of their higher energy density. They're also a lot safer than conventional lithium-ion batteries and wouldn't require as much protection in order for them not to explode. Those are technologies that are a ways off yet. Today, all we can do is hope that those technologies will change the world.